Welcome to the Weird Gun Game Show. I'm your host, BubbaTV24, and today I'm bringing my top 10 favorite guns submitted by the community for last week. Before we begin, let me go over some ground rules again for submitting your builds. 1. Submissions will be open for 24 hours after this video goes live. Make sure you get your builds in. After 24 hours, they will close, and I will not take any more submissions until next week. 2. All submissions will be deleted off of my list after I finish choosing my top 10 and make the video. If you didn't get picked, resubmit your build if you truly believe in it. 3. Make your builds weird. That's the name of the game. Builds that are weird and funny or fun are more likely to get picked. 4. Only submit one build. If you want to submit more than one build for the rest of the community, that's awesome and I love that, but I will just pick one of those builds out of the list that you send me, and it will be random. As always, I'm joined by my field reporter, BubbaTV24, who will be covering the guns in more depth. Let's get started with number 10. Number 10 comes from @Nicholas3807. They've brought us a saw build that will let you spray and pray. The parts are barrel MG42, core M249 saw, mag Negev, grip the VSSR, stock VSSR, sight MG42 AA. Mow them down, Bubba. Here at number 10, we have what is a saw build. Here are the stats on the right-hand side. You can go ahead and see them for yourself. Go ahead and take a look. We're gonna get into the game and talk about the gun. So I chose this gun for a handful of different reasons. The chief of them being that it is the saw. It's because the saw is based. And it's a gun that you don't see a lot of people use, and there's, a good reason for it, and that goes into the con section a little bit, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But this is a pretty fun gun. I like the saw as it is because it's, it's pretty fun to use in the game, and it's fairly strong, has decent rate of fire, stuff like that. Its damage is just kind of okay. It's not like the best damage you're ever gonna see, and that's kind of it for the pros. Like it's a pretty fun build to use, and of course you have this big huge sight on there that's pretty awesome. Now the big problem with this build is that you do need to own the saw, which I believe, if it's still available, is a bundle that you have to buy with Robux. I don't believe you can unlock the saw otherwise, at least not for the current time being, for a gun that is as iconic and based. I kind of wish it wasn't. Now, the other cons are that the spread on this thing is huge. The spread is huge, so you are going to be using this as a more mid-range build, because if you're too far away, you're kind of going to be shooting all around everybody. The other thing is that the movement speed is very, very slow, and the reload, well, it's the Negev magazine, so there you go. It's gonna be at least like 11 seconds long or something ridiculous. That's just how that magazine has always worked. It kind of does just shoot all around somebody, but you do shoot enough bullets that, well, let's be real, you're gonna hit some of those. And this kind of reminds me of the sort of classic Chris Vector build that used to use the same magazine that people would use all the time because it just spit out bullets, except this time it's the saw. And it does a little bit more damage. It's very similar to that build, but it does more damage. You can see 16 damage there. So yeah, pretty good, pretty fun build. It is with one of my favorite guns, as you can see. Oh yeah, good luck hitting anything from this range, but you can lay down whole hallways of fire, so that's always good if you're into suppressing people. But yeah, it's one of my favorite LMGs of all time put into a gun. That's why it got chosen for number 10, because it is the saw. Let's head back to the studio. Number 9. Number 9 comes to us from @Zhao_EAS. They've brought us a Garand build that I actually enjoyed using. The build is barrel VSSR, core M1 Garand, mag improvised, grip VSSR, stock M40, sight AUG. Storm the beaches, Bubba. Our next build here at number 9 is a pretty decent Garand build, which is why I chose it, because you don't see too many of them. Let's take a look here at the stats. So we've got some decent stats here. And there you go. Let's get into it. So I chose this one as number 9 because there have been a whole host of Dragunov and Garand builds. You guys submit them all the time, and I don't mind them, but the problem that I have found is that even with those builds being what they are, the guns are never very good. I'm sorry, the Garand and the BRs, especially the single shot ones like this, typically are not very good. A lot of it comes down to recoil, a lot of it comes down to being relatively slow and stuff like that when you're trying to get in there and doing your thing. This one is a little bit different. It is a pretty decent Garand build. It has good damage, and for a battle rifle has pretty good drop off. Like, it's got pretty good range that'll keep its damage from. Ouch. Okay, maybe not in this lobby. It's very usable, especially if you play a little bit differently. You are going to have to play in a certain way. The big cons for this gun are that just like most of the guns in this sort of, wow, okay. Lovely. That was weird. Just like most of the guns in this sort of area with the battle rifles, the recoil is pretty harsh, but in this one it's fairly manageable. I would say that I think that the AUG sight is something that could probably be changed out, and this would be even better. The biggest issue with the AUG sight is visual recoil. So like, yeah, the gun recoils a lot, but I think that the AUG sight makes it feel even worse than it is. So having a different sight on it probably would help this a lot, but this thing does quite a lot of damage if I can actually hit my shots. It's basically a 2-shot gun, and that's pretty good. The weird magazine really helps this one out a lot because it does give that really fast reload, which is really, really nice. It does require certain play styles, so you're not going to be doing a lot of like running, gunning stuff. You're going to be kind of playing corners, and you know, you could play at a little bit of a farther range. There we go. So if I'm playing back here, I can get a little more out of it. Oh geez, pretty decent build. Boom, big headshots there. There we go. Let's change out this sight real quick, and we'll give this a shot and see how this plays. Now, I'm not going to get too close, but you can see that the red dot moves considerably less. The gun does move a decent amount, but it does move a lot less with the red dot. Now, that's just me. That's personal preference, right? That's up to you guys, how you want to play. You can put it on whatever and shoot from range. You know, if you're within your range, it's going to be two shot. Go. You kind of have to slow it down a little bit when you're playing, so that way you can let your gun reset to hit those shots. Really fun little Garand build if you're into that sort of thing. And yeah, if you have a little bit of patience, you can make it work. Back to you in the studio. Number 8. Our next very confident build is from @JustCallMeJJ. They've brought us a, quote, OP 2-shot gun with 80% less recoil. The build is barrel VSSR, core Dragunov, mag UNP 40, grip croissant, stock VSSR, sight red dot. Take 'em down, Bubba. Number 8 is another battle rifle that I don't normally feature because it's usually not very good, even if you do the honk and all that stuff. I've seen that build a million times, that's why I don't feature it. This one is a Dragunov for once. I actually have a build here that is really good, really fun, and yeah, there's not much else I can say about it. Here are the stats here, right here for you. There we go, and let's get into it. This one here is basically like the last one, but if you enjoy a different flavor of battle rifle, this one will maybe be for you. 2-shot battle rifle, a lot more ammo, but it's very low recoil, a little bit of visual, and that's okay. That's always going to be the case, but a little bit of recoil, you can just pop right in there and get some kills, pop over and reload real quick, pretty fast. I don't know if I'd have to look again and see if there's a speed boost. It doesn't really seem like it, but let's see, any speed boost. So we have a movement speed decrease, so that is a little bit of an issue, but for what it is, it's actually pretty good. They said that they worked 3 hours on this build, and there's no way that I can improve this. Well, I think that's actually true, because for a Dragunov build, this is actually probably the best one that I've seen in terms of actually using it as a Dragunov instead of without throwing on a honk barrel and doing a bunch of other shenanigans to try and make it one shot. I don't have any real cons to it. The biggest issue is the speed of it, but I mean, I'm gonna get outshot by this guy like crazy, so yeah, it is what it is. But it is a good 2-shot gun, pretty decent. I mean, 30 rounds of ammo in it, so it's gonna be very hard to, jeez, this guy, man. It's gonna be very hard to like outdo that. And the recoil is pretty, I mean, it's pretty minimal. This feels like it's pretty well balanced, and if you play it right, like you do with the other stuff, you'll probably do okay. I probably shouldn't be running into enemies with this thing. I'm missing my shots like crazy. Is it gonna get outshot? Yeah, but other than that, very solid build. Back to you in the studio. Number 7. Number 7 comes to us from @ObamaBurger. This build is called the Armored Plating. The build is barrel M1887, core 1911, mag M1887, grip, lamp, sight, Panzerschreck. Don't die out there, Bubba. Our next build here is, it's weird, it's stupid, but it has one purpose, and that's to give you a bunch of extra health. Here are the stats here, and let's get into it. So this one here, they said, this build is weird because it sucks, which ain't so weird, really. But they said it's addicting because if you add it to any secondary, it'll give you an extra like 50 health or 40 some odd health, something like that. And what it does, they said, is that it drives snipers wild because that extra health means that they're not going to one-tap you. So yeah, you might get people like this who are gonna shoot me like crazy, but I'm not gonna get one-tapped. Now the big issue with this gun is that really everything else about it is pretty trash. So if I can get a single kill with it, I'm gonna be pretty happy. So the pros on this one are that the damage is actually okay. You know, it's the 1911 and stuff, and it's actually, you know, if you're within its range, it's actually not a bad bit of damage. But you got to be within range. Oh my gosh, my aim. The other thing is, you know, you got a light on it, so you can see what you're doing. That's about it. That's kind of like the only other good thing. Like, like I just showed you there, once you get too far away, you're doing like 4 damage. But if you're right here, you know, you're doing 12. And I think you shoot 2 bullets at once because it's like a shotgun here. So you have the shotgun barrel and mag, and then of course you also have the extra health. Now I have this, I think, mixed with the this gun, so that is going to give me about 50 extra health, which is nice. So that's good. Now snipers are gonna have a really hard time trying to actually kill me because of that extra 50 health, which is awesome. Now the cons, the actual ammo capacity, pretty bad. The reload speed, not great. Everything about it is slow in terms of movement, everything. And then of course you have the Panzer sight. So that is kind of the problem. They were right when they said that this is bad. But the thing is about the Panzer sight is that if you put somebody right directly in the middle of it, if your spread is relatively low, you're gonna hit them. Like, that's a thing. I can get a couple kills with it. It's not, you know, something that you're really going to be using. Essentially, the whole point of this gun is to use it as a secondary for that extra health, and then run around with whatever your primary is. I should be dead right now, so I'm going to hide in the corner, or not, and I was going to hide in the corner and get my health back, but that guy just spawned in front of me. Thank you. So back to you guys in the studio. Number 6. Number 6 slides in from @StopGo. If last week's 1911 build didn't make you feel like John Wick, this one will. The build is barrel Scorpion VZ61, core 1911, mag NP9, grip Uzi. Save the dog, Bubba. Our next build here is another 1911 build. You guys love your 1911s as much as I do, and they're pretty based. This one is, I think, kind of similar to the one that we had last week that was a bit of a competition style gun, John Wick whatever. Here are the stats over here, and we're good to go. Let's get into it. Now, we are losing our health from the previous 1911, and that's fine. Elon Musk again. And we are going to be running around with just this. Now, this is a very good secondary to be used as a secondary. And I would use this as like a sniper support or something along those lines now that the Type 14 has gotten its nerf. It's not as fast as, let's say, the Glock that's in there, but for what it is, pretty good. So a bit of a faster fire rate, as you can see. It doesn't shoot as fast as I can click, but it's actually pretty close. It does decently good damage. It has a fairly fast reload, and I think it has a pretty good movement speed buff. So that's pretty nice. The cons are really the range. It's a pistol, so don't expect long range as it is. I never do, but I like to bring it up because, you know, in the event that we do find a pistol that is a pistol sniper or something that's ridiculous, like the Orbeez or whatever it's called. I actually haven't gotten to use it. I have it unlocked. I haven't used it, but yeah, I'm getting outshot for the range there. You know, no one has submitted a gun build for that thing, by the way, which I'm a little bit disappointed in, guys. But anyway, until we get ourselves like a sniper pistol, a really good sniper pistol build, you know, the range on this is, you know, I got to keep mentioning the range, right? Because you don't want to be too far away. It's a pistol. And that's really the only con with it, I think. I think the rest of it's pretty decent. I'm getting smoked here because, let's be honest, everybody's using like SMGs and fully autos and stuff like that. And I'm using this thing. So I'm at a bit of a disadvantage here by doing this, so I should probably, you know, if I were trying to be, let's say, competitive, I wouldn't be using a pistol, let's be honest, but I may not also be showcasing it very well because of that, but you get the point. It's pretty good, you know, even at this range. I'm still getting hits on people. I'm still doing shots. It makes me miss the full auto Type 14. Devs, why would you take that away from me? You took my baby away, and I miss my Halo rifle when it was doing something awesome. So yeah, that's unfortunate. Anyway, back to you guys in the studio. Number 5. Number 5 paints me silly from @Valox171. The build is barrel, spray can, core, Maz 38, mag, MP40, grip, PPSH41, stock, APS, sight, red dot. Make like the Rolling Stones and paint it black, Bubba. Our next build is a very fast and good SMG build that shoots paint. Here are the stats over here on the right. For all you guys out there who want to see it, let's hop into it. This is a fun, faster SMG build. If you like a good Maz build, this might be for you. Do you like Mazes? Do you like to paint? Might be your cup of tea. Let's hide here. I'm dead. Thanks. This is a fast firing gun with okay damage if you are within its like damage range. It'll, you know, it'll put out some hurting on people, and that's always fun. It's got a fairly fast reload if I can actually see somebody to shoot. There we go. So as you can see, fast reload. So pretty good overall, even at range. A little bit of range, so he was within range. We're gonna hide here for a second. The movement speed's decent, a little bit of a boost there. The big con here is that you need the paint can. The paint can is a, I believe, limited item, so you need to get it, I believe, now during the takeover event or however long that goes on. I believe you can get it there. And then once it's gone, I imagine it's probably gone for good. So you need to make sure that if you are going to use it, to get it now and to use it now. So that way, you know, you don't miss out on it. The other thing is that the damage drop off is not that great. So you will get decent damage, but as soon as you hit the drop off, it drops off pretty heavily. So you're going to be losing a decent amount of damage there. Here we go. But if you stay within your boundaries and you stay within your range, you'll do okay. I've seen similar builds, people throwing in, people are still submitting the Nambu builds, the same 3 Nambu builds, and they're all the exact same gun build, and there's a reason that I don't feature them anymore, because the original Nambu build that people love to, who is shooting me? That people love to feature in this game or to submit is all the same exact build from a different YouTuber. It has not changed. It is still the same build. So if you submit a Nambu build and it is basically a Nambu PPSH grip with vector parts of any kind and MP40 mag or something, it's probably going to get thrown away immediately, so don't submit that. But this was a little bit different, and I like the Maz. We haven't seen a lot of Maz builds, so that's why I wanted to get it in there, and also just bring you guys a pretty darn good SMG build that is, in my opinion, very fun to use. If I can get through the window there. It's very fun to use and pretty easy to use, in my opinion. Recoil's really low, stuff like that. Like, it's just good all around. Other than really the damage drop off, and then of course needing the paint can. So I'm sure you could substitute the paint can with something else and be just fine, but the paint can is the big sort of kick in the pants here. With that, back to you in the studio. Number 4. Number 4 brings me back to the early WGG days from at August Oha 3234. The build is barrel, bar, core, snake, mag, the grip, circuit judge, stock, taco, sight, AUG. Take a trip down memory lane, bubba. At long last, my favorite way to play the game has finally returned with this build. If you followed my Weird Gun Game videos for any sort of time, you'll know that I was using a build from, at the time, the name was Purple Duck VR. Now it's Little Cheese Curd, I think. And it was an build that was my favorite fast-moving sniper build. And unfortunately, it got nerfed into the ground, and I was not able to find a build that ever could really replace the speedy sniping that I love to do. Here are the stats for this sniper rifle. This has given me my fun, speedy sniper joy back. This build is really, really good. I mean, if you don't suck at the game and, you know, like me, and you can actually, I don't know, hit your shots like I apparently cannot. But this is a sniper rifle that is the build that I love to play with sniping, which was fast moving, quick scope sniping. Now, there is no speed boost here. It is a little bit slower. I think you get like a 4% nerf to speed, but this does have 100 damage almost flat, and that's pretty great. The pros here is that this is a relatively fast firing gun because it is a semi-auto. I think you just shot a teammate there. Awesome. It is a semi-auto sniper rifle, so you will be able to move a little bit faster when it comes to rechambering speed. Probably not like the best, but you know, for what it is. Oh, I missed him. So this does do 100 damage flat. If you have people who are not using any sort of health boost, you will one-tap them, which in my opinion is probably a little bit harder because I think that there are a lot more parts on guns now that give some sort of a health boost. If you get headshots, it does 200 damage. It doesn't even matter. Movement speed nerf wasn't as bad as the one that was on my sniper that I was using. I have played this in such a way before with this gun and have jumped into the middle of whole groups of people and have gotten like quick scopes and stuff like that if I don't miss. You know, my aim has to be good. My aim is not good right now. So if I can warm up a little bit, that would be awesome. I don't know why I waited so long for that shot. Dang it, or with that one either. Now, the cons here. The big problem with this gun is that you need the snake core. If you don't have the snake, then you're not going to be able to use this gun. And the problem with the snake core is I believe it is Robux only weapon. So that's a thing. The other thing is that it does only have 5 shots. Got him. And yeah, that's kind of a big issue, is that the shot count's not great. The original gun had like 15 because it used the improvised mag. The other issue with this one is that reloading is a bit lengthy. So when you do run out and you need to reload, well, the reload is a little bit longer. So that is on the downside. It's not incredibly long, but it also isn't the what, like point whatever seconds, the less than a second reload, the 8.8 seconds, I think that was the improvised mag. So there is that to take into consideration. So maybe you don't want to play the super quick scopy close range sniper like I was doing. I also think that the AUG scope is actually fairly decent on this. It is a little bit of a lower zoom power, so that's up to you. I typically, you know, I used to use the M40 sight. I missed that. But, you know, I think for this, the AUG sight actually works pretty well. Missed entirely. Hit. Hit. Oh, darn. Well, started warming up there a little bit. Okay, anyway, really fun build. Gonna stay probably as my main sniper from now on. Back to you all in the studio. Number 3. This cursed number 3 comes from at Yargosaurus. Do you like not moving? Well, so do we. The build is Barrel, M1917 WC, Core MG42, Mag Negev, Grip Lewis gun, Stock Anvil, Sight Any. Don't go anywhere, Bubba. Our next gun it's bad. It's bad. It's unplayable unless you have a good secondary. So we're gonna pair this gun with something that has a bit of a movement speed buff here, and we're gonna use this. This is called Anvil Falls.mp3. If you don't know what that one sounds like, well, it's probably something that sounds very much like Pipe Falls. Anyway, here are the stats over here. As you can see, minus 87.5% movement speed on this map. Ooh, let's get around the corner here. So we're gonna be using our pistol for any of our movement speed here. As you can see, this is the max speed of this gun. It says the whole concept of this abomination is to immobilize you. So get a speed boost using second arm or get stuck moving 20 studs in a minute, basically. Now here's the great thing about this gun is that while it may be immobile and it may be, well, quite possibly the worst thing you're ever gonna use, if you're behind cover right here, look at this nonsense. This thing, easy to control, very fast firing. I mean, you're gonna be reloading forever, but you can lay down hate in a hallway and no one's gonna stop you. What are they gonna do? 200 rounds of just death and destruction from an anvil racing down a hallway towards them. Now that's the pro, is the rate of fire. The con obviously is, well, it's everything else. So look at this guy. I'm gonna hit him from across the map. Look at that. Just making him duck behind a wall. Low damage. There's quite literally no movement on this gun. It is designed for that. The reload is, well, it's abysmally long. It is the Negev magazine, but even this is slow for that magazine. And if you want to do anything, if you want to go anywhere, you're gonna need to use your secondary to move. So if I want to do that, I need to do this. Also, if you finish your reload early, if you swap over and you don't finish your reload, you're gonna have issues because you're gonna have to probably restart it. So I'm just gonna throw some lead down at this guy down here. Okay, keep peeking me. Keep peeking me. I will destroy you faster than you can say onomatopoeia. So we're just gonna stand here in the middle and not move. Oh, you want some of this? Oh, goodbye. It is very fast. Now, obviously, you know, I can't move, so sliding and dodging is not a thing. You are not outmaneuvering your enemy. Let me just say that. But what you can't outmaneuver, you can outshoot. So the way to play this that is playable in any way is to use your secondary to move, get into a good position that hopefully doesn't have this happening to it. Get into a good position, pull out the gun, and start firing. Now the problem is there is a little bit of setup time because you have to do charging of the handle there. But once you get that going, you can just start shooting. I don't even see anybody. I just know that there are people down there. So I'm just doing this. Now, it sucks. The gun's not good, but you know, that's not the point. Best gun? Absolutely not. Fun gun? Yeah. Weird gun? Absolutely. Back to you in the studio. Number 2. Number 2 is actually cursed by @Limit Operations. Don't talk too much about this build or else the fabric of reality will be destroyed. The build is Barrel, VSSR, Core, Fedorov, Mag, 1919 30 cal, Grip, Circuit Judge, Stock, Vector, Sight, Red Dot. Careful with this one, Bubba. Our number 2 gun is, well, it's nerdy as all get out. And I love that. That's why I chose it. First off, it's an automat. So here are the stats right here. I'm going to read a little summary real quick of this gun because you might find this pretty interesting. So this is from @Limit Operations. They said that the lore behind this gun, and they're calling it Azathoth's Wrath or Azathoth's Wrath, named after the blind idiot god Azathoth within H.P. Lovecraft's Cthulhu mythos. You need to equip the eye charm here. I'm gonna put it on the front just to, you know, really let everybody see it, which somehow your player character has been brave enough to acquire because it is one of Azathoth's eyes. It says to put it on the bolt handle, but I'm gonna be honest, if there is a way to rotate guns here in the building, I don't know how to do that. So, yeah. So with that little tidbit of information, I think we actually got it on there. Oh, nice. Okay, well, let's go ahead and do this. With that little bit of information, here's the thing. I've talked about this before. I love the automat. This is an automat build that, quite honestly, is pretty darn good on top of all of the, you know, lore. And also, if you've been on the channel, you know that I also am a big fan of books and reading and stuff like that. And I've been reading a lot of classic stuff lately, but like this year I read the Odyssey and I read the Iliad and enjoyed both of those, and I'm missing on my shots. Lovecraft is not someone that I am super familiar with their work, but I appreciate it that somebody else is, and is also a story and seemingly a book nerd just like I am. So we are of like-mindedness on all of this. Now, maybe I should get into Lovecraft because I like Cthulhu. I think Cthulhu is great, but I don't know much about Lovecraft outside of some very minor things. That being said, let's talk about the pros and the cons here. The pros, since you guys don't care about books, let's be real, you're playing Weird Gun Game, you're not here for the books. The pros is that this is an automat build. And I love the automat. If you love the automat as much as I do, then this is for you. Now, let's be real, outside of it being an automat, I kind of chose this because of the lore behind it. I'm gonna be 100% honest. There's a story. I love a good story. It has good damage, really good range, and let's be honest, if you're pulling HP Lovecraft lore and you're making stories about your guns, you are a nerd, and you're as much of a nerd as I am, and I appreciate that. So that is also one of the pros. It is a gun made by a nerd who loves their stories, and I appreciate that. The cons, very slow rate of fire, as is typical of almost all automat builds because, well, it's the automat. It's not very fast. The reload is insane, but to be fair, you're probably not going to really get to the point where unless you're, you know, just missing all your shots like I am, there's probably a pretty high chance that you will die long before you ever even need to reload, in which case, then don't worry about it. The movement is also very, very slow. The other con, the last con, and probably the most important one of the whole entire thing, is that there is that constant possibility that you will unleash a slumbering god that, at the end of the day, may consume all of reality. With that being said, back to you in the studio. Number 1, rev up them chainsaws with number 1 from Era the Emo Cat. They've brought a Gears of War inspired build that is barrel M60, core M16, grip G11, mag PP19 Bison, stock Held Trooper 23, sight UNP 40. Drop the hammer on them, Bubba. Our number 1 build is once again something that really pulls on my gamer love. This is the Lancer MK2 from Gears of War. Now, if you don't know, Gears of War is a game that is about chainsaw enemies in half. The Lancer is a gun from Gears that is an iconic assault rifle that in the front has a chainsaw that goes where the handhold is, where the grip is. Unfortunately, since there's not a chainsaw in the game, we've had to make a few concessions here with the build, and that's okay. This is the closest I can really get to making it look like the Lancer. If you look at the Lancer in terms of photos, you'll know that there are some blue lights on the side of it. And I did my best to replicate that with diamond camo here in like a couple of different areas. There were not a lot of lights on it, but here are the stats nonetheless. So if you don't know anything about Gears of War, it is a third-person shooter. I don't believe there's any first-person elements other than maybe some scopes with snipers. So I don't know what ADSing down a Lancer would look like, but I imagine it's probably pretty close to this. There's no chainsaw, unfortunately, which Gears was all about like really gory kills and like all kinds of stuff like that. So having things like chainsaws and sawing people up and stuff was part of the game. And I think we have ourselves a pretty good recreation of the Lancer. Now, here are the pros. It is the Gears of War focus gun, which I obviously didn't expect anybody was going to ever. I mean, Halo was pretty fun and cool, but like Gears has been kind of on the back burner from Microsoft for a very long time. So I'm surprised anybody even thought about it. I guess a new like remastered or something of the first game came out, so maybe that's why, but it has some pretty decent damage because it is the M16, pretty fast reload, an okay fire rate. I think the recoil handling is pretty darn good too. The problem also is that the sights, I'm not a big fan of the sights that we've got here, the UNP sights, so you know, to each their own. You could probably put a red dot on here if you really wanted to, but whatever, I'm not doing that. I kept it. It didn't feel authentic, you know what I mean? I tried pulling up a picture to really try and build this out in the way that I could. Also, you'll notice that the stock is where the magazine is. It's the Helltrooper stock. This gun is all about the look, and if you look at the Lancer's magazine, it's this huge boxy thing. So yeah, that's a thing, and it doesn't really have a stock, so that's why we put the Helltrooper stock there to represent the magazine. The only other issue is that you have to have the G11 grip at the very least, because that's part of the build, and if you don't have the G11 grip, well, then you're going to have to find a way to unlock it, and that's from the wheel, so good luck with that. That's always a big problem with some of these parts that are kind of dependent upon luck, so there is that. But I've been having a great time with this gun. If only there was a way to make the boom shot, or honestly the Hammer of Dawn would be super, super cool. And with that being said, for our final gun, we're sending it back to the studio. Thank you once again for watching another weird gun game show. Remember, build submissions are open for 24 more hours, and once they close, I won't be taking any more until next week. Like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you all next time.